Hello to all my 9 subscribers. Today we're going to finish up this Polaris Outlaw. I have a '06 Polaris Outlaw. I've done so much damn work to it. I kind of lost track. But I've been avoiding the axles. So today we're going to replace the axles. Mine had a torn boot and the CV axle was clickety-clack. Let me spin the camera around and you could see the project here. So I took off the wheel to show. So this axle, this is the Outlaw, where it has the independent rear suspension. Kind of a little bad layout here to remove this and replace the axle, but actually it's not that bad. I did it on the other side. The other side, same principle. This side has the rotor, the brake rotor. The other side has this sprocket. The only additional thing you would have to do would be to remove the 4 bolts to the sprocket if you want to replace your sprocket and upgrade it or whatever. But this side, it's pretty straightforward. You remove the upper nut and bolt, the lower nut and bolt, and then you pull the actual spindle out off of the control arms, and then you remove the axle nut. It's 27 millimeter if my memory is good, which it's not. Let's see, this is 27 millimeter. Yes, 27 millimeter. And then I believe the sides are, I think they're 15. I got my stuff scattered all over here. Hold on. Nope, still too big. Oh, it's on the gun. And then the 15 millimeter. So the upper and lower nuts and bolts are 15 millimeter. So that'll get those off, and then the axle, CV axle nut itself is 27 millimeter. You don't really need special parts or special tools. You will have to pry the upper and the lower control arm off the spindle because they are pretty tight in there. And then once that's off, you pull the axle out after you unscrew these 4. I think these are 15 millimeter as well. They are not. They're smaller than that. They are 13 millimeters. And then there is, I don't know if you can see it with the phone here, there's a ring in here. That ring needs to come off, and then the axle can come out. Alright, let's continue. Let's start disassembling, and we'll see how she goes. Alright, I removed the upper and lower bolt. I'm going to take the pin out there. We'll zip off the nut. The aftermarket axles I bought, they came with a new nut and a new pin. I'm going to reuse the factory nut. They're aftermarket, or better known as Chinese axles. So I really don't trust the nut that's on there, or the one they give you. This is an OEM nut, so I'm just going to reuse that one, and then they give you the pin. Axles, got them on eBay. They were, I think, $55 for the both. OEM parts for these damn things are very expensive, and in most cases hard to find. They don't make these anymore, so aftermarket it is. Most of them. I mean, you've seen some of my other videos on this quad. Most of the parts are aftermarket. You know, gets way too expensive when you keep buying OEM parts, or you never know what you're gonna get if you buy a used one. They're no better than what you have on here. All right, so this is going to be in my way. So what I'll do is I'll tie that up. You don't have to remove it, you know, only remove what you need to, so. Tie it up out of my way. Alright. Now let me pry the bottom one out. Tight. That one's in there. The axle slides right out, and then there's your knuckle, or spindle, whatever you want to call it. Alright, I got the screwdriver here. You can see now would be the time if you want to replace your rotor with a new one if yours is completely destroyed. You could take these 4 13mm bolts off and you can replace your rotor. Let me get the axle out here. Just pop this clip. Let's spin it on the side. I can see it here. You can see there's the C-clip. And the axle does come with a new clip. There's the C-clip holding the axle into the hub. So this appears it's not an actual axle. It's only a hub. There's no differential in there, so you know, they don't move independently of each other. There's just a CV axle or CV joint here, and then there's another one on the inside. So now the fun part. They do not come out easy. Let's see if I can show you. Let me open up the new one here. There's a C-clip. Not a C-clip. There's a little locking ring on the axle shaft. And it's a bitch to get out of there. You gotta pull and tug. Fighting it. And here's the actual shaft. This nut I am not going to use. I'm going to reuse the OEM. But here is the actual clip they put on there, and you gotta keep yanking it to get this clip to push in so you can get the damn thing out, and it does take quite a bit of force. So you just start yanking it. Let's do the shot here. Get my grease. And that came out. The other side took me a good 15 minutes of yanking here. Just the damn thing off. With the self, don't grab the upper control arm. Not cooperate. Get a little room. The garage is getting tighter and tighter. Running out of room. That works better than the tape. This one's just as stubborn as the other one. If you had a slide hammer, that would work good too, but I do not have one. Whew, that's a workout. Nothing to hammer on it. It's so fun working on old quads. Kind of see inside there what we're working with here. There's a shaft inside the joint, and the only thing holding it in there is that little clip, and it takes a good amount of tension to squeeze that clip together so it could slip out of the joint there. Whew, sorry, I'm breathing heavy, I'm winded, plus I'm old and fat. That doesn't help either. All right, let me see how long it's going to take to get this out here. Sit tight. All right, so it's not coming out the easy way, which is just to keep pulling on it till you can collapse that ring. So option 2 is, I don't know if you can see it in there, but there is a lot of grease. So there's a snap ring in here. Let's see if you see that snap ring moving. So that snap ring, you take that off, and then the CV joint will come out with the axle. It's a little bit more difficult to do it that way, but I've been yanking on and pulling this thing as hard as I can, and the axle won't release. So got to take the CV joint with it. I got to put this down. Let me. This requires both hands. All right, I took the C-clip out, and that did absolutely nothing. Pulled on it some more, nothing. So I put the C-clip back in, and I'm just gonna keep yanking on it till eventually she pops. All right, the good news is the axle came out. The bad news is the CV joint came out with it, and then all the ball bearings popped out. So that, I don't know what happened here, but that CV joint is not coming off that damn axle. So let's figure out, I mean, the CV joint I could probably save. I don't see any damage. You know, the balls just came out, so I can clean that up. I just got to get it off the damn axle to reuse it. So, of course, it's never easy. You're working on a 18-year-old quad, and or 17-year-old, whatever. I don't even know what year it is. 17-year-old quad. These kind of things are going to happen. So, something I wasn't expecting, but I figured it wasn't going to be easy. That's why I postponed this for, I don't know, 8 months. 9 months. All right, let's see what I can do to get this off. Ooh, about time. Sorry guys, I don't have a stand, so I can't give you a really good close-ups without me holding it. Alright, so there's the snap ring, and that holds the boot on. And then the only thing that's left is to put the hub back on and grease all the fittings. Very important that you grease the fittings. There's one there on the upper portion of the hub. I don't see anything on the bottom portion. And also right at the hub itself. It's not going to focus on it. Okay, there it is. There's the grease fitting for the hub. Make sure you squirt some grease in there, because you do lose quite a bit of grease doing this, and I think most of it is on my hands, my shirt, and my pants. I can't stand messing with grease. Alright, let me finish this up, and I'll show you what it looks like all finished up. So essentially it's 3 bolts left. The bolt for the upper, lower hub, or spindle, whatever you want to call it, and then the CV axle itself. Alright guys, sorry about that. I forgot to hit record, and I essentially lost all the assembly footage for the hub. But once you put the axle in, It's just the two 15 millimeter upper and lower bolts with the nuts, and then the 27 millimeter CV nut, and then just put the pin in. You're good to go. And don't go crazy tight on these because you will crush them too much, and then they'll have a hard time pivoting. You do have a grease zerk here, and most importantly, I don't know if you can see it in there, you have the hub grease zerk. You definitely want to squirt some grease in there because you did lose, well, I did lose quite a bit of grease trying to get that CV joint out, because I did have to wipe it up. So I put a couple of squirts in there, actually a lot of squirts with the pneumatic Harbor Freight grease gun. So just to recap, just make sure you put this clamp in, because it is a pain in the butt. That is a new boot, so it's hard to get that clamp to seat. So you got to push really hard and kind of tap it in, and use a screwdriver, use whatever tool you can find to push it in the notch. And then the rest of it is essentially straightforward. And then obviously after you grease everything, put your tire back on and you're good to go. I do have some projects coming up, non-ATV projects. I'm gonna start motorcycle projects. I'm kind of done with the ATVs. They kind of take up too much room in my garage, so stay tuned for turbo projects. I'm acquiring parts right now to turbocharge my next project for you guys, and that is a Honda VTR 1000F, also known as a Honda Superhawk 996. They made them, I don't know, 7 years, 98 to 05 or something. V-twin, 996 cc, sorry, not 1000. 90 degree V-twin. It's going to get turbocharged. The bad news is it's carbureted. Me and carburetors don't get along. So I'm going to build this on the cheap, and you guys are going to watch and help. And if you want to build something on the cheap, follow right along. I would appreciate any subscribers I can get. As of right now, I only have 9, so like it, because I got a bunch more projects coming. This is one, and I may have 2 more motorcycles coming in the next couple months to turbocharge. So stay tuned. Thanks, guys.